Honorable members, welcome, and CEO and your team, most welcome to Parliament. This is your Parliament, the People's Forum. On behalf of the Speaker, I welcome you to this engagement that you're having with Parliament. Let me also take this opportunity to already thank you for appearing in person as you are honoring our invitation. According to the communication you received, this committee invited you to specifically update it on matters with regards to the industry, and in a special way, we also highlighted that we would like to get an update of the performance of the market this season. CEO and team, feel free and welcome to Parliament. Let me know if you have a presentation that you'd like to make.
Honorable Chairperson, thank you so much for the welcoming remarks. Indeed, we have a presentation that we would like to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Shortly, I'll be giving you time to make your presentation. Let me guide that I'll give you 40 minutes to make your presentation, and thereafter, the committee will give feedback on your presentation and the specific matters that were communicated in the invitation. Honorable members, I therefore hand it over to the CEO to give us both your opening remarks and proceed to the presentation. CEO.
Point of order.
Thank you very much. Let me grant you the point of order.
Thank you, Chair. I think before the CEO takes over, we needed to introduce ourselves so that we should know who is in this room. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and the point of order is sustained. CEO, don't mind, that's the language here. Thank you very much. With that point of order, let's therefore introduce ourselves. CEO, I'll start by introducing my team, and then I'll hand over to you. Committee members, honorable members, let us do the self-introduction starting from Lilongwe City, Zenza, coming this way.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, and good morning, team from Tobacco Commission. My name is Jonathan Mfune. I'm representing the people of Lilongwe City, Zenza, Area 25.
Through Honorable Chairperson, my name is Jeff Tamale, representing the people of Mchinji Central East Constituency. Thank you.
Good morning, through you, Chair. My name is Masauko Gordon Salijen, representing the people of Blantyre City, Mbayani Musa Magasa constituency. Thank you.
Morning, Chair. I'm Fish Nkwazi, representing the people of Nzimbarweles. Thank you.
Chair, I'm Mason Jambo, representing people of Zombantonya. Thank you.
Chair, Francis Kasaira from Sanchi Central.
Chair, Frank Mwinifumbo, Karonga Central.
Chair, Felix Njawala, Mwanza Central Constituency.
Through the Honorable Chairperson, Sunge Kalumo, Parliament Secretariat.
CEO, let me give it first to the media in case we have any media representatives.
Good morning, Chair and Honorable Committee. My name is Wesi Gausi from Times.
Good morning. I'm Laxon Letters from Times.
Thank you very much. With that, CEO, take note that We also have the Parliament TV covering us live. And you have noted of also the presence of the external media. We may be joined by more others. On the side of the members, there are more who are just in other meetings who soon after may be walking in as well. We are not a boys' secondary school. CEO, my name is Akim Kumwenda, a member of Parliament from Zimba West constituency, and I chair this Parliamentary Committee on Industry, Trade and Tourism. I hand over to you to introduce your team.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. Good morning. My name is Evans Chirumpa, CEO for the Tobacco Commission. Let me ask my colleagues to do the self-introductions. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. With your indulgence.
Please proceed.
Good morning, Chair and honorable members. My name is Chirunga Mugambirinya. I'm the Corporate Planning and Development Manager for the Tobacco Commission. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members. I am Chimwechi Fomboti. I am the Enforcement and Liaison Manager for the Tobacco Commission. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Chimwemwe Ruhanga. I'm the Director of Finance for the Commission.
Good morning, Chair and honorable members. I am Brad Chipao, Acting Director of Human Resource and Administration.
Good morning, Chair. My name is Teleforus Chigunembe. I'm the Public Relations Officer for the Tobacco Commission.
Thank you very much, CEO. And as guided earlier, you have 40 minutes for the presentation, but you can begin with your opening remarks. Over to you.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Chair. We really appreciate this occasion. We do not take this lightly. We appreciate the overall oversight role that the committee plays, and indeed the issues that have been requested are very important, that the committee should be informed. We have made a presentation, just an overview of what the commission is. We will take you through the performance of the market this season, and in between we could be making reference to the past season, as well as share with you the challenges that currently we are facing in the tobacco industry, and we'll make a conclusion, Honorable Chairperson. If you could allow me at this point in time, Honorable Chair, that I start my presentation with the overview. Honorable Chairperson, the Tobacco Commission is a statutory institution established by an Act of Parliament of 2024. This was a repealed act. It was in 2019 that also established the commission, but it was repealed in 2024, having noted some gaps within the act. The vision of the commission is sustained tobacco production, value addition, and marketing. Our mission is to provide effective and efficient regulatory services using modern technology to promote the development of the tobacco industry that operates in an accountable and compliant manner. Honorable Chairperson, allow me to share with you the function of the Commission. According to Section 4 of the Tobacco Industry Act, it provides for the mandate and specific functions of the Tobacco Commission. Our core function, or our core mandate as Tobacco Commission, is to regulate and promote the development of tobacco industry in Malawi. Specifically, the Commission is mandated to regulate the production, grading, processing, importation and exportation, and marketing of the tobacco itself. We also regulate the manufacture, sale, labeling, advertising, promotion, and the use of tobacco and nicotine products. Honorable Chairperson, the Commission also promote crop diversification and good agricultural practices in the tobacco production. We collect statistics and distribute market studies and information relating to the whole tobacco value chain, as well as promoting a conducive environment in the tobacco industry to allow effective and fair competition for the stakeholders. Thus, some of the functions that the Commission plays. It also advises government on policy and strategies to promote and develop the tobacco industry. It is the responsibility of the Commission that we should advise government with respect to new policies that we would like to promote and implement, and also monitors the enforcement, monitor and enforce compliance by licensees with terms and conditions imposed. The Commission licensed a number of stakeholders, the buying companies, the grower associations, the transporters, a wide range of them. We mediate disputes under the Act where Commission is not an interested party. We could have issues arising from buying companies between the farmer and the buyer. The Commission's responsibility is to mediate in those disputes. We also promote awareness of the hazards of tobacco use, and as well as promote public awareness of harmfulness of child labor. Honorable Chairperson and the honorable members, I would like to share with you at this point in time the tobacco industry players, or our stakeholders. The tobacco industry is comprised of the following key stakeholders: growers and tobacco grower associations. For instance, Tama, NASFAM, Pindu, Nchikumbe, these are associations, and individual growers themselves. We have buyers and processors. When we talk of buyers, we have Limbeleaf, JTI, Alliance One, Helwan Cotton, and many others, but we only have 3 processors currently in Malawi: Alliance One, Limbeleaf, and JTI. We have Tobacco Research Institution, which is ARET, commercial graders, a number of them, manufacturers of tobacco products, tobacco flow operator, which is currently AHL, transporters and transport associations, and Haitian scheme operators. Having mentioned the stakeholders that we are dealing with, allow me at this point in time, Honorable Chair, to mention or comment on the market performance, or give you an overview of our market performance as at week 7. Let me begin by saying this year we have an estimated production of 197 million kgs of tobacco against a buyer demand of 170 million kgs of tobacco, of all tobacco types. The markets opened on 20th April, with Lilongwe market opening on 20th. On 21st it was Chinkoma, and 23rd it was Limbi. On 5th May, that's when we opened our Nzuzu market. We have 4 markets. Now, we have 2 tobacco marketing systems: the auction market and the contract market. So far, what we have sold on auction market is 548,000 kgs against 2,750,000 kgs in 2025. And we have seen a decline of around 80%. The value that we have generated from the auction sales as at now, or as at 7th week, which is ending 5th June, is at 720,000 US dollars versus $6,160,000 last year, same period. You will see, Honorable Chair, that last year in auction, The same period, we were trading at $2.24 in average, and this year we are at $1.31, a decline of 41%. Now, on contract, last year we sold 56 million as at 7th week, and this year we have sold 50 million, generating this year 106 million US dollars versus 136 million US dollars last year. Still a decline of 22%. An average difference, price difference also is very huge. In terms of last year, it was $2.44, and this year we are $2.08. Overall, what we have sold so far is 51 million kgs. That is auction plus contract barley, plus contract, and last year it was 58 million kgs. Same period, in terms of revenue generated, it's at 106 million this year versus 143 million US dollars last year. And the average price, as we are talking now, is at $2.08 versus $2.43. I wanted to just mention, Honorable Chair and members, that at the opening of the 2026 marketing season, we had a rejection rate on auction ranging from 90% to 98%, but currently that rejection rate has drastically dropped to between 20% to 42%. Challenges that we are currently facing in this season: we are facing high rejection rates on auction marketing system. And what have we done as a commission? We continue to engage the buyers. And also, most importantly, what we have done is to revise the GMPs, the grade minimum prices. Probably that's why we have seen movement of tobacco on the auction part. We still have a challenge on overproduction, and this is globally as well as national. Estimated global barley demand for production is 600 million kgs versus 400 million kgs. That's global. And TC has instituted crop size management for the next production season. We are going to align what the buyers are going to demand with what we are going to issue as in terms of quotas to the farmers. We also experienced delayed payments of grower process, and what has TC done is to issue appropriate regulatory orders to all the stakeholders that are non-compliant. Honorable Chairperson,
and how it has impacted what you just highlighted as an improvement in the rejection rate. Just that relationship. I will shortly be opening it to members, but I thought that will be a piece that we can already get at the moment.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and members. Indeed, I think in responding to that, let me just start by saying the Commission each and every year carries out research. That's not an average, but we are saying for him to produce a kg of tobacco, $2.53. Last season or last year, it was $2.19. So you can see the movement from $2.19 to $2.53. So when we are coming up with the grade minimum prices, the minimum gazetted prices by government, there are a number of considerations that we consider. One, we look at the last year's minimum prices, the ones that were used for the purchases of tobacco for the last season. That's the first condition. The second condition, and most importantly, is the cost of production. how much has it taken for a farmer to produce a kg of tobacco. The third condition is we look at global trends, the demand and supply. How is it looking like? And lastly, we also compare with our regional competitors. How is Zimbabwe, how is Tanzania or Mozambique, how are they doing and how are they faring? So we look at all these parameters for us to come up with the minimum prices that are supposed to be used in the next marketing season. Now, what happened this year was that when we developed the cost of production, from 219, the changes you can see from 219 last year, that's for barley. From 219 to 253, it showed that the cost of production for tobacco this year has gone up, and actually it was way up than the rest of our regional competitors. That led us to come up with prices that were very high regionally in terms of the barley tobacco. And when that was presented on the floors, when that was gazetted, the buyers started looking at how is Mozambique faring, how is Zambia faring, and Tanzania. These are the same buyers that are buying tobacco in Malawi, are the same buyers that are buying tobacco in Mozambique, and the same buyers that are buying tobacco in Zambia or Zimbabwe. So the result of that is now the effect we saw on the market, especially on the auction part, where they were reluctant to purchase the tobacco. So after a number of engagements with the buyers, that's when they actually now opened up to say, look, these prices that you have come up with, you have just based on the cost of production and you did not consider what your colleagues are doing. And our customers definitely are shunning away from us and would like to maybe look at alternative markets. The prices that we developed were kind of outcompeting ourselves from the regional. And therefore, we said, let's actually do a research and see what our colleagues are offering. We noted that, for instance, in Mozambique, the lowest grade there was 60 cents. Here, the lowest grade was $1.20. We also noted that in Zambia, the lowest grade was 110. Here, it was 120. The highest in Mozambique, it was $2.80. Here, the highest was $3.25. Now, this was now incumbent on us to make a decision or advise government to say, we are in this situation, and if we don't move quickly and move fast, what it means, there is going to be still apathy on the auction part. They were buying on the contract side just because they are obligated and they have contracts with the farmers, and therefore they had no any reason whatsoever to concentrate on auction. It was at that point, that's when we sat down and said, maybe probably we can revise the minimum prices. Now, when we revised the minimum prices, it was only for barley and not for fruit cured. Why not fruit cured or dark fired tobacco? Because we have three types of tobacco: dark fired tobacco, fruit cured, and barley tobacco. Dark fired is on high demand, very high demand, and the fruit cured as well is on high demand. Therefore, they did not have any problems with fruit cured tobacco and the NDDF. That's why we just paid attention to the barley side. And when we say that we revised, we looked at what has already been sold on the market. What was sold on the market at the time we were revising the minimum prices was around 20 million kgs. Mind you, Honorable Chair, we are looking at 197 million kgs as production. And the 20 million kgs at that time had already gone through. The throughput had already gone at that time. We have plant positions for barley or for any type of tobacco. The lower reapings constitute a significant part of the plant positions. So in our mind as Tobacco Commission, we said, okay, 197 is what we anticipate. 20 million kgs has already been sold. Normally, it is the lower reapings that are actually sold the first few weeks. And we said, if we are going to minimize, if we are going to revise these minimum prices, probably we should revise the lower reapings that have already been bought or sold on the market and not affect the top reapings. It wasn't just reducing only, but we also made sure that we have added some grades with additional prices that were not there in the initial gazetted minimum prices. So, what is coming out significantly, or as a result of what we have done, $1 now is the minimum price from 120. The buyers wanted to go as low as 60 cents. We said no, let's limit ourselves to $1, and also added some more grades that are actually giving an advantage a farmer in terms of what is yet to sell, because that's what is going now to make a profit. What has already been sold, we believe that those are lower reapings. But as the season progresses, they are going to be bringing in tobacco, upper reapings, middle reapings that are going to yield more. We have not affected the changes at the top of the grades. So, Honorable Chairperson, probably I thought I should share with you that, and I believe I've clarified on that point. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much. In case, before I give it to members, your team may have something to add on your presentation. And maybe someone will be kind enough, I guess, to also talk about the rejection rate on the contract tobacco. We have gotten it from the presentation on the auction tobacco. Any comments from the team before I invite the members?
Thank you very much, Chair. Maybe I will just come in on what you've just raised on the rejection rate on contract. So on contract, the rejection rate is below 5%. And the overall rejection rate for the market, combining contract and auction, it's around 5%. So for contract, it's around 2%, and most of the rejection rate on contract is to do with quality issues. It's those bales that the tobacco that was initially bought, but was found with some issues regarding quality, and is being sent back for rehandling. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, CEO. Honorable members, that's a presentation from the Commission. I now invite your feedback to the Commission. I'll recognize you by show of hands. I saw already a hand from the central corner. So this corner, CEO, is central. If we can begin from here up to somewhere there, it will be central. Except for the northeast, which has just disturbed the floor. But I will recognize Mwanza Central, and then I'll go to Karonga Central. And for this set, I'll finish with Honorable Mchinji Nchisi West. I've seen you, honorable members. I'll recognize you in the next set.
Thank you very much, Chair. CEO, can you please go back to the vision? Unfortunately, I can't see. Maybe you can read for me. Sustained tobacco production. That's where I wanted us to focus on. For us to sustain tobacco production, obviously a farmer is involved. And you, during your presentation, I have noted that cost of production was $253. And that's what guided you to come up with the minimum price so that the farmer can be protected. Now, I just want to find out, as a commission, what have you done to help a farmer reduce the cost of production? Because if our colleagues are producing the same at a lower price, there must be something wrong in the matrix this side. What have you done? Because your vision is to sustain tobacco production. But if we proceed in this manner, obviously farmers will be discouraged to get involved in tobacco farming. Yeah, if they make losses, that is. So what has the commission done to assist the farmer? I will have a chair. I'll have a supplementary after the response.
Thank you very much. I had recognized Karonga Central.
Thank you, Chair. And through you, let me thank the CEO for his presentation. Tobacco Control Commission. I want to believe that you are controlling the whole supply chain from production up to the market. And the crucial part of the whole supply chain is, or value chain, is the market. Now, the issue of rejection, I think it has a serious reputational damage to the market. And that market is not auction floors, it's Malawi. Tobacco Malawi or Malawi tobacco has high rejection rate. And I don't think it is normal to maintain the status quo. I want to believe that TCC should by now have found a means of taking away this reputational damage on the market, of the market, or Malawi market. Any efforts that you are innovating to take away this reputational damage? For example, why don't you have a pre-inspection before the markets open? When the tobacco arrives at the floors, why don't you internally check the quality before it goes on the market? That's my first question. You've talked about or lamented about delayed payments to farmers, and thank you very much for noting that, bearing in mind how hard it is to grow tobacco and how long it takes for somebody to produce that leaf. I want to encourage you that please fight for the farmers, because that reduces morale, especially where farm inputs are very, very expensive. A farmer is expecting to have his earning on time to pay out the loans that they took during the value production. Finally, and I don't think this will be yours, but I just want you food for thought. The issue of value addition. I'll quickly go to what is happening in the mining sector now. The position that the government has taken to say no more of selling raw minerals or exporting raw minerals. We want them to have them processed within the country. I think that's a very, very bold move that everyone else must support. In the same vein, since time immemorial, why have we been exporting leaf? And especially where we know that tobacco's main use is smoking, process it into cigarettes. What stops Malawi really from producing cigarettes and export an end product? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Karonga Central. Let me go to Nchisi
Chair.
West.
Thank you, Chair. as we speak, I wanted to find out from TCC, as we speak, can you proudly say our tobacco, our economy, as we see it now? I've seen your tagline there. You say our tobacco, our economy. Can you proudly say, in view of what the farmers are going through now, in view of what the economy is going through now, can you proudly say our tobacco, our economy? That's the first one. The second one, hearing you talk, you are giving this committee the impression that the prices are lower outside Malawi than they are here. But I'm aware that we have an influx of vendors coming from neighboring countries, or there is demand by our vendors to take the leaf out there because it's fetching higher prices. Where are we getting it wrong? Because in Mozambique, it's Mozambique leaf tobacco. They are buying from our vendors the same tobacco higher than they are fetching at our auction floors. Just next to Mchinji, the vendors are exchanging the same leaf higher than they could do at auction floors. Is it an issue of us failing to negotiate with the buyers in Malawi? Or there is a hidden hand somewhere influencing the prices? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, CEO. As you're responding to these ones, I want you to just weigh in on the performance of the IPS. We've lived with this animal, with this system for quite some time as we speak today. The expectation or the theory was that this would help us improve on quality. In any case, I think it's fair that under such contracts, the buyers do not demand the quality from the farmers, but rather they co-produce this quality. Because, I mean, my farmers are paying for the extension services, they are paying for these imports. Today, it's also maybe, as you're weighing in on it, coming as a surprise that the cost of production is 253, and then when we use that to come up with the minimum prices, the same buyer who supplies all these expensive inputs, all this extension, is all of a sudden saying, no, that's way high. Let's use another formula. Are these not coming from them under the IPS? Just to weigh in on that from the Commission's point of view. I thank you, CEO.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson and members. I will take a few, and my colleagues are going to also chip in on the other issues. Let me start with Karonga Central. It was, you raised a good number of issues, Honorable, and you mentioned something to do with high rejection, and you wondered whether we have innovations that the Commission is undertaking to make sure that the crop is not rejected on the floors. Chairperson, let me begin by saying the buyers have their contracts with farmers. That's 80% of the crop. Crop that is under contract is 80%, according to the law. Crop that is on auction or under auction is 20%. The rejections that we are actually referring to, making reference to here, is rejection on auction. For the crop under contract, the buyers have their own extension agents. And probably that's why we see rejection at contract as low as 2%. Rejection on auction is as high as 40% at times. Reason being, the buyers, what they are claiming is this tobacco is not traceable. It is not traceable. They don't know where this tobacco is coming from. They would rather like to know who is producing this tobacco, where, how big is this land, the traceability issues, governance, sustainability issues, and even social factors affecting the farmers. They are assured that their contracted volume is traceable, and that is according to their customers' demand. Now, what are we trying to do as a commission? Starting this year, we are coming up with Know Your Grower initiative. It's a huge project that we are targeting all the farmers that are not on contract, in as much as we want as well to target the contracted farmers. That database, once that database is established, we assure the buyers will not come to the commission and say, no, we don't know where this tobacco is coming from. So, yes, government, in terms of the inspection now, government inspectors, the extension agents are not enough to actually inspect tobacco farmers. The EPS these days, the Alangis these days are not sufficient to monitor each and every tobacco growing farmer. That's why we have challenges. But even ARET also does the same, because they have got their extension agents. They go in the field to actually train, starting with grading of their tobacco. But that alone is not enough, because I believe they do not have enough extension agents to facilitate the inspection of the quality of the tobacco before it is sent to the auction floors. There is an influx of vendors. These are individuals that go and buy tobacco from different farms or different farmers, and definitely do not know how to grade that tobacco. And the Know Your Grower aspect that the Commission is bringing up is going to make sure that all the vendors that were involved, all the vendors that do not have land, are flushed out of the system. And we believe next year, because of the traceability issues, this crop is going to be compliant, and buyers are going to actually scramble for this particular tobacco. You mentioned also, through Chair, the delayed payment to farmers. I take that as an advice. The Commission is putting in place measures. Just to mention that this year's challenges were not as more pronounced as 2024. We had challenges, and as a Commission, what we are saying, we can't allow farmers to continuously experience delayed payments when this is something that is actually supposed to be done within 48 hours according to the law. And going forward, you are going to see improvement, because we have measures, we have agreed with AHL and all the stakeholders. Whoever is actually delaying in terms of payments, we are going to actually be suspending that particular buyer. And you shall see what is the Commission going to be doing. In terms of value addition, let me appreciate Honorable Chair. The Act in the past did not have this aspect, and that's why we had to repeal it in 2024. We thought that we should include the aspect where the Commission should be able to add value by allowing processors to actually come and invest in Malawi. And indeed, we have seen prospective potential investors coming and seeking guidelines on how they should establish plant processors, just maybe to extract nicotine or actually the shisha, things that are actually now currently happening elsewhere. We have potential companies that are coming to the Commission seeking. But what was the problem with last time? We did not have the law. And this law, which was passed in 2024, is actually stipulating guidelines, what the Commission should do in order to allow investors to come and invest, just to make sure that we value add instead of exporting the green leaf through and through. Maybe I can ask at this point in time, Honorable Chair, with your indulgence, to ask my colleagues, maybe to pick one or two questions that were asked by Chis Central, Chis West, and also Mwanza Central.
Thank you very much, Chair. The first question was asked by Mwanza Central on the issue of sustainability of the industry. Precisely, the question was, what is the Commission doing to reduce the cost of production? We have to admit that the cost of production in Malawi, in general, it's on the higher side. Basically, it's to do with the increase in the cost of inputs. And also, I think from our side, the issue of exchange rate. When we are doing a survey for the cost of production, we collect prices on the market, the open market. The prices of fertilizers and other inputs that the farmers are incurring. And when we collect them, we have to convert them into US dollars. Now we are converting them using the official rate, but I think what they are getting in terms of the costs, I think they are pegged at maybe the unofficial rate, the higher rate. So that's why we are having that discrepancy, the big jump in terms of cost of production from 219 to 253. But still, as the Commission, on our part, we are still encouraging the buying companies to contract more farmers, to engage them into the IPS, because despite the contract arrangement being, or the arrangement being 80% contract and 20% auction, but even on the contract side, it's not entirely funded, the 80%. Under the contract, there are two types of contract. A funded contract, which is the IPS, where the farmers are getting
hearing might have been true in other seasons, but for this particular year, tobacco may actually make it to Malawi. And just to add on whether we are proud to say our tobacco, our economy, I think I just want to highlight the coverage of tobacco across Malawi. Tobacco is grown in over 20 districts and remains the mainstay in most of our rural economies, and that is why if tobacco growing is sustained, we can still proudly call it our tobacco, our economy. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Let me take, unless there is more information you'd like to share, precisely, I think I thought you would also look at, we would have loved numbers, just to say, we would have loved numbers. There is a claim here that the high cost of production of 253 is for the non-contracted farmers, but the farmers under funded contracts, the cost might be lower than this. Would have loved to get the number and be comparing with the prices which were set, because our argument here, or maybe the sense in the question was that if the contractors are providing the imports at that cost, and then you tell them this should be the minimum, I mean, it's their own making, and they should not be coming back to say, don't consider the cost of production, consider something else different. I hope you get it. So the numbers would do us very good, but you will be taking that after we also get a supplementary from Sanje Central and Karonga Central.
I think I was the first one.
Yes.
So I can.
Yes. Oh, sorry, Mwanza. My apologies. Mwanza Central and then Karonga Central.
All right. Okay. No, thank you very much. CEO, I wanted the intervention that the Commission has put in place, to assist farmers reduce the cost of production. But it looks like when he was responding, he did not indicate the intervention that is there. Maybe as a layman, because you are experts in that field, don't you think it's high time you came in? Tobacco is sold in dollars, not kwacha. And these farmers, obviously, they sell in dollars. Don't you think it's high time you got involved in how the farmers procure their inputs? Because most of the inputs are imported, and you know the suppliers. I believe if you could come in after the farmers sell their tobacco, before they convert the money into MK, which is mostly done at an official rate, they reserve something for the inputs, and you deal with the suppliers. For instance, fertilizer. Obviously, they know the cost of a bag of fertilizer in dollars, which mostly is converted using a parallel market rate. But at the same time, if a farmer sells his or her tobacco, for instance, at $100, and the $10 could probably be enough to buy a bag of fertilizer, if the dollar is paid to the supplier directly before conversion of that dollar into Malawi kwacha, so that the cost of production can be reduced. That way, what you're doing there is, because these the very same dollar that the farmer has sold at an auction is the same dollar that the supplier of fertilizer is using to import fertilizers. But because the Forex is in short supply, the supply is taking advantage, even after being given dollars at an official rate, but the price is pegged at, using a parallel market rate, mostly because they are looking at the replacement value. Yeah, they are not looking at the cost of importation. They are looking at replacement value. Every trader would be looking at the replacement value. You know, in business, that's how we do, how we operate. So I thought maybe you would say, if as Tobacco Commission, what we have done this year is, when farmers sell, we will reserve their dollars. We will not convert the whole amount. Some will be used for procurement of inputs, so that a bag of fertilizer, which could cost a farmer at probably 200,000, would cost the same farmer at maybe 120,000. Yeah, because that's what is happening. So I thought maybe there is something like that. But maybe you see, or you can explain why maybe this is not possible. Thank you.
Karonga Central.
Thank you, Chair. In his response to my question about, or my observation on the delayed payments, the CEO has given an answer which I'm not comfortable with, so I'd like to advise him something better. Rather than suspending a buyer, don't suspend him. Penalize him, because we need his money. You suspend him, he's going to put his money in the pocket. Come up with some penalties, some kind of penalties, but not suspending a buyer. Secondly, I don't know whether Tobacco Commission, thank you so much for the correction, Honorable Chair, is aware that our leaf, especially barley leaf, has been termed as a very unique leaf. I don't know whether you're aware of that. If you are aware, then stand your ground that we have got the best leaf in the region. You cannot compare to Mozambican leaf, Zimbabwean leaf, or Zambian leaf. These guys are playing tricks on you. They know that we cannot do without Malawi leaf because of its uniqueness, because it has been openly recognized worldwide that we have a best barley tobacco. Now, the issue of you playing Fido, second Fido, to say, no, we need them. No. You must understand at the back of your mind that these guys cannot do without Malawi leaf. I just wanted to just share that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maybe because they are quite burning, I'll be going to the next set, but these were supplementary. Maybe CEO, you already tackled these ones, so we look at fresh interventions from the members. I see you, Chilazu Masanja. I'll recognize you shortly, soon after he responds to the supplementary questions raised by the members.
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Very pertinent observation from the Honorable Committee. Starting with the Mwanza Central, what interventions are we putting on the table for the farmer not to actually feel affected with the cost of production? Indeed, it's something that maybe it was an oversight from my end. We have institutions, farmer institutions, that come to the Commission to request the Commission to lobby for the dollars with the Reserve Bank. We write the Reserve Bank to say this is an institution that does import chemicals starting from the nursery, fertilizers for the farmer, especially targeting the tobacco farmers. Actually, when we are coming here, we had just received that particular institution that wanted us to, they wanted intervention from the Commission. We know when we do that, Reserve Bank listens, and they have at times indeed assisted with the required dollars. And once that procurement has been done, we make sure that indeed these inputs are distributed or are bought by the individual farmers that they were requesting this kind of request for. So the Commission, in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture, has had that kind of intervention before, and it's a continuous process. Only that probably And in fact, we have had some institutions that have come to register to say, no, we would like to support the farmers, give us that recognition in the industry, that all farmers that are willing to purchase cheaper inputs, they should be coming from us with their own arrangements, but with the support of their own also off-takers in terms of the support of the purchases of fertilizer. So we have been doing, but probably maybe not to such an extent that maybe it is more pronounced, but the effort has been there, and we believe that we are going to push more so that a lot of farmers benefit from these initiatives. On suspending, well, that's according to now Karonga Central, on suspending of a buyer, that is something that a commission can do as a last resort. Because we have seen a similar situation where a buyer bought last year but did not pay the farmers. So we wouldn't want to be found in a situation where a farmer has sold their tobacco and is not being paid. So if we see the turnaround time for payment of the proceeds are overdue, we just have to suspend that particular buyer or either pre-finance for the sake of us to know that indeed is liquid enough. But this would be the last resort. That the crop, the tobacco, my tobacco is very unique, yes, the Commission is very much aware these buyers cannot do with Malawi tobacco. But what we need to guard against ourselves is to overproduce the crop. If we overproduce, it means we don't have the powers to actually, because they will say, no, let me go where it's actually cheaper than Malawi tobacco. Basically because of the cost of production here in Malawi. Mozambique, they are close to the sea. Zambia, they have got on their own manufacturing fertilizer companies. We don't have. So we just have to make sure that we produce according to what they are demanding. In that way, then we are going to indeed stand tall and say, this is our tobacco. You cannot buy under all. Thank you so much, Chairperson.
The cost of production in IPS.
Thank you so much. Sorry, that one skipped. But the cost of production, according to buyers, you know, when we are coming up with cost of production, it's a conservative process. We request the buyers to submit their own individual cost of productions. So, for instance, if it's buyer A, buyer B, buyer C, all the 8 buyers that we have, those that are involved in the IPS, we call them and ask, how much have you spent for you to produce a kg of tobacco? It's a range. Some are at 180, others 170. The highest could be, if I'm not wrong, it was $2.10. That's the highest. Whilst us is $2.58, them, the highest is $2.10. So that's why we are saying probably if they are able to absorb more farmers into contract, it means they are going to access that particular kind of reduced price inputs and hence benefit from the pricing itself.
Maybe just to give you a recommendation already, we as a committee would not be advocating that we kill the auction market. It takes away the whole price discovery goal. So as we engage further, even as you go back, take it that the committee will not support the IPS over the open market. I mean, we can't be turning independent land owners into corporate, for lack of better words, at this moment I'll say corporate servants or slaves. They need some level of autonomy, and let's field it side by side as much as we can. You talked, as I'm recognizing the next members, you talked about the overproduction as we're responding to a supplementary from Karonga Central on the premium leaf that we produce. About next year, you have shared a plan that you're going to look at the quotas strictly so that you manage production, matching it with demand for that particular season. I was wondering, this year we have an estimated 1.97 million, 197 million kgs, is it? Against a demand of 170, leaving us with a gap of over 23 million kgs. I was wondering, did we do this last year? Or because every farmer who produces on whatever piece of land, they only do that after getting a license to do so. Did you do the same homework we're doing this year, or did we miss something as a commission last year? But you'll be responding this together with what the members will be raising. I'll recognize Chirazulu Masanjara, Zimba Lueleze, Nsanje, now I'm right, yeah? Nsanje Central, and then Zomba Antonia in that order.
Thank you very much. Through you, Chair, I have 2 questions, but I would ask you, Chair, if you would permit that maybe today we are meeting the Tobacco Commission. Maybe if we could also meet the farmers and we could also meet the buyers, because they are within our Committee of Trade. So, Chair, I also wish if we had a chance to go to the auction floors and hear for ourselves before even we meet the Tobacco Commission. So I think inviting the two will really help, will help us more. So what I've noticed here, my questions are down, but I'll be brief. Forgive me for this. There is too much rejection in auction than the contracts, because these farmers are really in control. For my understanding, it's like a mafia, I should say, modern slavery or monopoly. So these buyers, they give loans to farmers, fertilizer, gumboots and stuff. So when these farmers bring their tobacco, there's no rejection rate more in the contract, because the buyers are actually just getting back the money they sent to the farmers. There's more rejection to the auction floors because these guys are independent buyers. So this is what we have noticed, Chair, and this is a very big concern that would really ask us as Malawians, as us representing our people, to really check on this and investigate. So my questions are 2. To the Tobacco Commission, what made the change from Tobacco Control Commission to Tobacco Commission? And also what we noticed is the tobacco that was made by, I should say, sorry, I'll use the skin color, but white people, was sold at a higher price than the one made by our Malawian farmers. So my question is, why is it that their tobacco was bought at a higher price than us made by Malawians? Thank you very much.
Zimba Lueleze.
Thank you so much, Chair. Through you, let me first of all thank the CEO and his team for the brief presentation. It's one of the shortest presentations so far. Chair, on this issue of rejection rate, when Commissioner was responding to some of the questions here, he talked about quality. I think the other reason of the same was about the demand and supply. But with these 2 reasons, I don't think I'm convinced as a Member of Parliament for Zimbabwe. So I would like to find out from the Commission that don't you think the reason behind the high rejection rate at the opening opening of the season could be just to frustrate the farmer so that they can maybe accept any price they're getting right now? Don't you think it's one of the reasons of the rejection rate that we experienced on the day we were opening our 2026 season? My second question to the Commission is on the difference. We have about 23 million kgs difference. Can the Commission assure the people of Mzimbarwelis that all the leaves are going to be sold? Because we didn't think from the last season that some of the leaves were not bought, and until now some farmers still have the tobacco. So would you assure as a regulator that this season you are going to do all you can to ensure that or to make sure that the leaves are all sold? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mzimbalweleze. Next was Sanjay Central.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, my first question is slightly contradicting your position. But I see that from the presentation by the Commission, you are almost having the same position. But I want to put in my my understanding of what are the issues in the sector. I'm not an agriculture person, but I was privileged to be in the Ministry of Labour, and I'm aware that the ministry has a piece of legislation which was targeted towards the tenancy system, because the American government is against the tenancy system because they believe that it exploits the tenants, and there's also child labor. And that's why the 20% of our tobacco that we're producing using this system faces serious challenges. And I'm sure the stop and release order by the Americans is still there. I'm not sure whether you have managed to remove it. I'm not sure about it. But I know that Americans had put in a stop and release order on our tobacco. The reason is they came into our country, investigated, they have documented evidence that our tenants get abused, and they also use child labor. And I was privileged to see that recording in Washington. Now, as I said, from your presentation, you are saying you want to try and maybe get more into contract, but you still want to have those that are using tenancy system. But it's very clear that if you continue that system, whatever percentage of tobacco that will be produced from that system will be banned from the market, not long from today. Because this is just the first stage in the American system. After this, after stop release order, is banning the product. And we're going towards that process. Unfortunately, most of our buyers, they have a market in America, and they will not do without the American market. And they'll be forced either not to buy from Malawi, that tobacco, or something else will happen. So I want to find out from you, why do you think we still need this system, the tenancy system? Chair is on our side, but I'm not on our side because I know the implications, because of the privilege that I had to be engaged at that level. That's my first question. Secondly, Chair, is on the price setting. you said that you had to change your minimum price when the buyers brought in a different view on how you do it. But the Commission has been in the sector for so many years. Every year you come up with minimum prices. I should believe that you have a standard process that you follow. Why this time around you need to change it? I'm trying to understand why this time around you had to change it to check what is happening elsewhere. I should believe every year you compare the prices in other jurisdictions. Why this time around? Or why you had to change your standard procedure just because of what the buyers were telling you? Don't you think that puts you in a very difficult situation where people start speculating about the influence you're having from the buyers? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Maybe just to make sure we exhaust all the interventions, after Zomba Antonia, let me invite or rather recognize Blantyre City Mbayani Musa Magasa, the longest. If you forget the whole name CO, you can refer to it as Blantyre Mbayani. He will still be comfortable. Thereafter, I will recognize the Speaker Emeritus in Zimba Northeast.
Thank you, Chair. Most of the questions have been highlighted. I just want to go to the auction floors. There have been some issues that there is a delay when it comes to the sales process. I'm saying this because there have been a lot of worries coming from the transporters, saying that once they, take the tobacco to the auction floors, they take time for them to offload, and that also affects their businesses, and of course that costs again affect the farmer. So that affects the entire process. Even if you talk about us having good prices, but still when you look back to the farmers, the farmer still gets nothing. So I would like to understand what the Commission is doing in supporting the process of tobacco sales in our auction floors. And the second one is to do with the, we are proud that Malawi this year, we have at least high prices compared to other neighboring countries in terms of tobacco sales. And as we have also discussed here, we are assuming that the ball might turn around. We might start getting tobacco from our neighboring countries. So I'd like to understand also from the Commission, if the ball turns around, do we have the capacity to handle this tobacco from our neighboring countries? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Mbayani Musa Magasa.
Thank you, Chair, for giving a chance the people of Mbayani Musa Magasa to ask a question regarding the Tobacco Commission as a regulatory body for tobacco production, sales, whatever. I've got 3 questions. First question, I know some of these questions have been tackled, but I will be precise. This season, 2026, we have overproduced as compared to buyers' demand. Why has it happened? I know farmers or production clubs are given quotas, A, B, C. They shouldn't exceed that. Why have we overproduced as compared to buyers' demand? That's my first question. Second question. the contract selling process is between the buyer and direct to the farm. We, as Tobacco Commission, why was it left free for the buyer? Because I know the buyer is supposed to buy, not to be engaged in tobacco production. Why was it left free to have the buyers have the access also to be controlling the farm, which has also affected the sales in the auction, because buyers now are preferring to do the contract farming as opposed to direct buying from the auction. My last question, as a commission, do we have any governance issues, both locally and internationally, as regards to tobacco marketing? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I had recognized Mzimba Northeast, the Speaker Emeritus.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, our CEO, for your presentation. I will start off with something. Being a member of the Women Caucus, I was just interested to know that do you have any women in the top management of your organization? Because I haven't seen anybody. So does it mean you don't have any? And yet the law is very clear in terms of how the composition of our organization should be. So I wanted to know why we don't have any lady representation on your team. And then the issue of corruption in the whole system. As much as we're talking about overproduction and what have you, the other vice that I think is also affecting farmers is the corruption. For the buyers to buy some of that tobacco, the farmers have to give them something. Now I'm thinking about my farmers in my constituency who can't even have enough transport for them to go to the auction floors. Obviously, those are affected. It's only those that can access the floors that are able to give a little something for them to be considered for the price. I'm sure I am talking to somebody who knows what is happening in the industry, because we're probably one of the biggest tobacco growers in the country. Not anymore, but I think I've got quite a lot of knowledge on what goes on in terms of the sales on the floor and how that is disadvantaging our very people that we represent in our constituencies. And I know that this issue of contract farming, which the former minister also gave in the background of why we're finding ourselves here in terms of the contract, because the biggest buyers, I'm sure it's is it Philip Morrison's, obviously they were making their own demands to say that we will only buy tobacco if 1, 2, 3, 4 things are done. Obviously, what it means is we're still being controlled from a certain authority somewhere. My worry is, at that time, we were moving and it was looking like it is slow. Don't you think this rejection, all they're trying to do is now to get all the farmers, 100% of them, to grow the tobacco under contract? Once that happens, then our authority and control over the tobacco as Malawians is completely now gone. Because you can actually see how they have been moving from the time they pushed us to change the law to allow them to do contract farming. Now it is slowly moving there, and I can almost guarantee you, believe you me, we'll come back here, there will be no more control that the farmers will have. So for me, that is a big worry. And yet that power is with us as members of parliament. Do you think this law needs attention before this happens? Because from the time the law was changed, the attitude towards contract farming is very, very clear. Yes, they are hiding under use of child labor, they are hiding under whatever. But for me, I'm seeing something bigger than that. They want to be in control. Now, Honorable Member for Karonga Central said that our tobacco is prime. Now, if our tobacco is prime, is it not a matter of us as Malawians, as usual, not using the power and the authority that we have to negotiate in these tables for the sake of our people? Or is it us just accepting because it is the donors, it is Philip Morrison's, it is whatever, then we have to change the law? And now slowly you can see them trying to cave in and make sure that we lose control of this whole industry altogether. For example, last year, I think there was quite a lot of tobacco which also came from Zambia to here. I know we talked about tobacco living here, but believe you me, from us and the honorable member who come from Perembe, most of this tobacco that is being sold today is tobacco that has been moved from Zambia. It came here, it is from last year, and it's being sold. What effort are you doing as Tobacco Control Commission to control this? Because it has affected our farmers. There's quite a lot of it, especially barley. The one that has been flexing, moving to Zambia, was basically flu. But barley, believe you me, honorables, it's come all the way from there. They're selling last year's tobacco on our floors by the vendors. In the end, we are looking like we have overproduced when actually some of that production is coming from across the border. What measures have you put in place to protect the tobacco flocking this end? And even this year, the prices, I can agree with you that across the border, they are worse off than here, especially on barley. And what that means is it's slowly still trickling in from Zambia, finding its way here, because the prices here are a little bit better than Zambia. If we are not going to control, it's obviously our farmers that are going to continue to suffer. So I was interested to know, when our tobacco leaves, I know you always have teams to protect it. What are you doing to protect that tobacco from Zambia coming in? Because for them, their cost of production is lower. They don't mind getting 70 cents, 80 cents, because their cost of production is lower. That obviously is making our farmers to be very, very vulnerable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I wanted to cross this. Okay, but let me, however, and finally get Mwanza Central.
Chair, thank you very much. I'm still on the production side, the farmer side. I'm still not convinced because the intervention is that the CEO gave us, is that they write the central bank. I know the bureaucracies. I know how difficult it is sometimes, because when the dollars gets into the central bank, the demand is high. So it's not very easy. I'm looking at the farmer. Do you sometimes encourage them to open FDA accounts so that they can control their own dollars? Yeah, because to me, that's the easiest, safest, and the better way for farmers to access inputs at a reasonable price. I know we have forex flows, yeah, but people must be allowed to control their own resources. That's why we have laws. And to me, I think this battle must be fought by the Commission so that farmers can also be protected. I know there are some who have opened the FDA accounts, but that information is not going to clearly to the farmers so that at least they know that there is this provision. You can do A, B, C, D. I thought maybe it's high time farmers were informed that there is this provision. You can open an account, have your dollars in your account, government will take it 70%, the 30% you can use to procure your inputs. You know, if that information goes to farmers, probably the cost of production in the next season can go down. That's what I wanted to say, Chair, that I think next year they come here, they should come out clear to say, okay, this is the intervention that we had put in place to protect the farmers.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Quite a list, CEO. See, we are circling somewhere around the integrated production system and how it is affecting everything in our, I think, considered opinion. To clarify, production is one thing, and you can follow all the recommendations even when you are an independent farmer. In fact, I know so many independent big farmers who are selling on the open market, and they are selling. So I think issues of child labor, etc. I come from a high tobacco producing area. I've gone to school and I've grown up eating proceeds of tobacco. So the issues that were highlighted as we got ourselves into the changing of law, as highlighted, can happen in both scenarios, for starters. The only exception is that maybe the other one is monitored, issue of traceability, and the other one is not monitored. Is it not high time we look at how we can monitor both producers and make sure each complies with the requirements, but we leave them with the autonomy? Because the issue here is the autonomy, the choice of where to buy inputs, of what type of labor to use, and so on. You see what? There are people who are getting huge loans, including groundnuts in there. And I have a farmer in Kabwafu, Mperembe, who has no land suitable for groundnuts production. But this is on them. So we're saying it's high time maybe we looked at the independence, the autonomy of our farmers, and we protect the integrity of the open market. That it should be patronized. Maybe as you're responding, CEO, we are interested to know, do these buyers have open checks? They have a demand of a million kgs, and then they can contract farmers to produce also a million kgs. Is there anything left for independent producers from whatever they are demanding? I wanted to see if that's regulated or if it's just open. Because if they can produce it all under the contracts, we'll continue to have the problem on the open market, regardless of improvements in quality, traceability, etc. CEO, as you're responding, please look into those. And then the people we represent had once upon a time the pride, and even during the era of the late President, Professor Bingwa Mutharika, he made a very big move to get the markets closer to the producers. Of late, we've noticed that these markets have been closed. I'm talking of one in my own area, Kabwaf auction floors. This is no longer operational. I wanted to get from you what justified this, and looking at the volumes which are coming from that side, is it not worthy retaining these markets? I give you this moment to weigh in, CEO.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. Indeed, a return of observations. Yeah, Honorable Chair, let me start with what you commented at the beginning, overproduction versus licensing. Isn't it supposed to be that what we license is what is supposed to be produced? That was your comment at the beginning. To respond to that, ideally, that's what is supposed to happen. When we give a quota to a farmer, say 5,000 kgs, you produce 5,000 kgs, and that is what is supposed to sell come the marketing period. There are a number of factors that can actually make that figure change. Either we have good weather, that so much so that he is able to produce more than that. Secondly, He lied to us to say, I have 5 hectares, when he goes and produces more than what he promised. So we have a situation where we end up with overproduction. But we are supposed to make sure that we license what the buyers have demanded. In essence, this year, what the buyers demanded was 170 million kgs, but we are ending with an estimated production of 197. I must be quick to say, based on what we have so far seen on the market, we are doubtful as a commission that we are going to hit 197 million kgs, because the last time that we went for estimates was when the crop was still in the field. That was early March. The rains were still coming. Mid-March, most of our farms were hit by bushetop, and that was very heavy. And those were the figures that we used when we published to say, no, we are going to get 197. That was second round estimates, but we usually undertake a third round estimate, where we now need to go and ascertain, after selling a number of weeks, is it going to still be 197 or not? But you will realize that in March, the rains were still coming, and they continued coming up to first week of April or second week, and we only opened the markets on 20th April. Those heavy rains resulted into leaching of the soils, and eventually we are ending up with a thin leaf than expected, and compounded with the disease infestation. We believe the estimates are not going to be the same 197. But I just wanted to explain that. Now, when we are licensing, we do not tally the figures directed to what the buyers demand. Why? Because we need to take care of the eventualities and uncertainties. When we say a buyer gives us a demand of 170, probably we should license 200 just to cushion ourselves with an eventualities of 30 million kgs, assuming. But we needed to actually over time assess what percentage should we actually be giving in terms of should the weather be good. If we are licensing 200 million, what if the situation improves or the weather improves? This is a task that the Commission needs to be undertaking. But as well as realizing the fact that we are coming from a period where the production has not been all that rosy. In 2021 or 2022, we produced 85 million kgs. What was the demand at that time? It was 200 million kgs in 2022. We only produced 85 million kgs. What was the reason? Bad weather. In 2023, the demand was still at 200 million kgs by the buyers. They gave us the demand. We licensed even over 200 million kgs. What did we get at the end of the day? 121 million kgs that was produced in 2023. In 2024, the demand was still at 200. What did we get? If I'm not wrong, it was around 130. Is it 133 or thereabout? 133 in 2024. In 2025, the demand was at 213 million kgs by the buyers. You know, there was excitement. The prices were on the rise each and every year, from 2022 to 2025. 2025, we ended up overproducing. From 213 that the buyers demanded, we ended up with 221 million kgs. That was 2025. And that's the year when we struggled, right? And the estimates for that particular year were at 197. We were saying, no, at 197, we are going to close the season. But we noted that there was still influx of tobacco. At that particular time, buyers were now getting fatigued to say, no, our resources were budgeted and tied towards 197. Up to 210 million, up to 221 million. That's why we struggled selling at the end of the season. Now, we are at where we are now because of the excitement that was there. The buyers overbought, they bought up front, the volume that they demanded to say we want 170 million kgs. You know, we get these volumes, estimates, indicative prices now. As I'm talking, we have already been given what they want next year. It's 140 million kgs. You see, if we overproduce beyond 197, it means they are going to buy still, but now eating from what they were supposed to buy next year, because that is now a stock that is going to be in their warehouses, waiting for them to actually sell. So it's a situation that, as a commission, now we need to see where is the demand, the actual demand at which we should be landing each and every year. Based on the record that we have, we believe the industry is sustainable at 150, 140 million kgs. The buyers give us 170 million, but for the past few seasons, they have been fluctuating between 140, 150, 140, 150. The 200 that they had been giving us from 2022, it was because there was underproduction globally. So they said, no, let's still get tobacco from Malawi. But that's the situation that we have been in. And that's why we are saying this year we are going to crop size manage the production. How are we doing it? We are going to reduce quota allocation to farmers. So, for instance, a club which is allocated 30,000 kgs, this year, whether we like it or not, because we don't like to be found in the same situation again and again, we are going to reduce that quota allocation. New entrants into the farming, we are going to still consider an allocation that is not the same as what we did last year. So we have come up with a number of measures that we believe going forward. And please, if you hear farmers complaining, oh no, Tobacco Commission is kind of restricting, it is to do with this. This happened in 2017, 2018, 2019, when we had restricted farmers from actually overproducing. Because in 2017, it was the same situation where we saw tobacco up to January. And what happened to prices? They were depressed. And we were selling tobacco at 30 cents, 20 cents that year. What we did next was to control the production. And that led us to even, you see now 2021, 2022, farmers now said, no, I think this crop now, they don't want us to be producing it. So we have taken note of what we are saying. It's a cyclical kind of 2 years, you see excitement. The other year, this is what happens. But we need to be on top of the game and make sure that there is sustainability and we don't actually find our farmers in this kind of situation where they are failing or actually kind of selling their tobacco at depressed prices. That can actually also help us not to, the buyers, because the buyers will know that this is the only crop that we have. If we overproduce, they indeed, like you have said, they kind of monopolize the market to say, no, let me concentrate on contract than the auction market. There were a number of, but I have not recorded who. Okay, why did we change the name from Tobacco Commission, Tobacco Control Commission to Tobacco Commission? The law that we were using as commission, I think it was enacted in 1930 something, 1937 if I'm not wrong. That was the law that we are using from that period up until when we started seeing reforms in the agriculture sector, especially the tobacco industry sector. So in 2019, tobacco control, the picture that it was actually giving to the industry, it is like so government said, no, you are a regulator. So there were a number of names that were suggested: Tobacco Regulatory Authority, Tobacco Commission. We said, no, let's not change completely. We should just maintain the Tobacco Commission. It was a reform that was in the industry, and the buyers interpreted it as if we are controlling. We don't want farmers to grow more tobacco. Controlling, kind of. A number of observations were made at that particular time. That's why we ended up in 2019 when the act was now being, from 2030 something to 2019, that's when the new act was enacted. And just to be repealed 4 or 3 years later. So that's why we changed. A chance to go to auction floors, you are most welcome. And I must say, Honorable Chairperson, it's going to be an eye-opener for those that have never been to the floors. And we enjoy when we receive committees to appreciate what is actually happening. There was an issue to do with a white buyer getting more, a white farmer getting more, being awarded a good price than our indigenous farmers. I know where this is coming from. I think it was in Limbi, where there was auction, there was flue-cured tobacco. A white farmer had his own top quality tobacco. It was bought at $4.60, top quality, by all definitions. Very well matured, fluffy, a tobacco that you can actually say, no, this particular individual, this particular farmer deserved the 460. And there was a comparison of an indigenous farmer, not top quality, that is actually, even the grading itself was different, but there are some people that actually took those hands and compared to say, why are you offering this one 460 and this one 220? But the actual bales themselves, when you go there, when you saw the grading, it was actually very different. In the eyes of the commission, at least, we believed the hands were quite different, and actually the quality itself from a distance. We went closer, and actually there was kind of discussion, but our independent opinion, it was quite, should a farmer, an indigenous farmer, actually produce the same or similar type of quality? There have been instances where a buyer pays regardless. Those observations have been there. We have had smallholder farmers bringing flue-cured tobacco to the floors, and farmers are extremely happy. There is no reason whatsoever. This time around, flue-cured is highly demanded, and there is no way a buyer cannot motivate that particular individual to actually sell more when he has actually undergone the effort. You know, flue-cured is not as easy as you think as it is barley. So the buyers, they reward the farmers accordingly. On that particular incident, Honorable Chairperson, I am a witness, I was there, and I can say without fear of being contradicted, it was just a matter of quality. Yeah, do we believe that the 23 million kgs discrepancy between the 197 and 170 is going to be indeed solved? Yes. Like I'm saying, a team is going to be going into the field to actually now do a final estimate to see is it indeed that we are going to come up with the 197 million kgs, which as a commission we have doubts based on what I've actually just explained, the diseases and the leaching resulting to yield reduction. But even if the figures get to 197, we believe the crop is going to be sold. That's our belief as a commission. There was also something to do with trade requirement for the next season. As we are talking now, the trade requirement, when buyers are submitting their trade demand, they do not just submit trade demand for contract. They also indicate that no, on auction, this is the volume that we are going to buy. So as I'm speaking now, the volume for contract, based on those buyers that have submitted now, apart from one who is yet to submit, we have 120 million kgs for contract, and for contract 112 million kgs, but for auction, 8.5 million kgs for now. We believe the figures are going to go as high as 140 million kgs. That's why I was saying, for us to be sustainable, we need to be within the demand. Currently, the buyers demanded 170, but as I said, they had bought forward that 170 million kgs. Maybe with at least, because they were sitting, when we were opening the market, they were sitting at 40 million kgs unsold. Tobacco that was bought from previous year. So 140, that's where we anticipate we are going to, and the allocation of quota, that's what we are going to do. We are aligning the quota based on the demand, but probably with 10 plus kind of percentage to cushion in case of eventualities. Let me ask my colleagues, I think they were getting the questions, if they can also continue with your indulgence, Chair.
Thank you very much. There was also an observation or a question on the issue of tenancy system. Maybe I would like to clarify on that one that, yes, tenancy system was abolished by, I think, the amendment of the Employment Act. So it was abolished by law. In terms of how it applies to the auctions, to the production of tobacco, the auction system, it's not necessarily that they are producing under tenancy, but the issue is the issue of traceability. The tobacco that is being produced under contract, the funded one, the buying companies are able to trace it. In terms of what is involved in terms of production and where the farmer is and everything that has been put into the crop for it to be produced. So I think going forward, like the CEO said, the Commission, we are embarking on a traceability initiative, which we are calling it a Know Your Grower strategy. And the whole essence is to make sure that the auction tobacco is traceable. I think that's the clarification I wanted to make, making sure that the auction tobacco is as traceable as the contract tobacco. In that sense, we will make sure that all our tobacco is not being discriminated. According to law, the auction marketing system is protected by law. So I think we cannot just abolish it unless Parliament decides. But according to law, there is a provision for auction market and also contract market. So just to allay your fears that maybe we might go to 100% contract, I think by law, auction marketing system is still protected. I think. Yeah.
I know by law, by action and technical, we are not. That's why there's high rejection rate on the contract. So it's not a matter of saying it's not there, but technically, if they're going to be rejecting the tobacco, it's as good as telling you. And that's what has been happening. So many of the farmers are saying, okay, let me go on contract, not because of their wish, but because they feel that that's the only place that they're buying the tobacco. So slowly and eventually, get everybody to give up.
Let me comment, Honorable Chairperson, on that one. Indeed, the observations are correct, Honorable, and at some point it has been the fear of the Commission to say why are the buyers behaving in such a way. But they have not actually even hidden the fact that they would want to actually abolish the auction. The Commission has stood its grounds to say we can't just be borrowing whatever is happening elsewhere and impose it on Malawi. The Commission understands that when they are competing on the auction in a normal year, you can actually appreciate that when the crop is short, competition at the auction marketing system is very high. And that one drives even prices on contract. And they do not want that. They would want, even in the short supply, still monopolize the system. Yeah, we are aware that that's where they are driving at, but we cannot. They make difference to Zimbabwe, Zambia, elsewhere. We say no. This is a different situation. So, Honorable, I would like actually indeed say, as far as the Commission is concerned, we do, actually when there is a new buyer during the season, that's where he starts from. He starts actually, there are even some buyers that are even comfortable participating on auction only. They do not have contracts. So if we actually say we are taking out this, it means we are indeed depriving the farmer that kind of arrangement of competition. Because the prices on contracts, they are normally, despite the fact that we have minimum prices, they are agreed between the farmer and the grower. And a farmer doesn't have a say, mostly. So as far as we are concerned, we wouldn't want, and that's why we are coming up with these initiatives to say, okay, you have always complained this is not traceable. Fine, let's actually invest on this actually strategy and see how best this can go and see if they are not going to come back.
CEO, take this one straight or ahead on. Buyer X wants to buy 1 million kgs of tobacco. They have submitted to you this. How much are they allowed to contract?
According to law, Chair, it means they need to submit 20%. 1 million, and that should be 80%, plus they are 20% on auction. So that's what has been happening. A buyer is submitting 100%, but 80% should be contract, 20% should be on auction.
Have we evaluated this, if it's working with these high rejection rates, for example?
Honorable Chair, we are in the process of evaluating. Because, let me be frank, there are a number of buyers that are coming to the Commission to say, we would like to have these uplifts for our specific farmers. We are saying no. So far, based on what you provided us with, you are just only at 20%. There are a lot of farmers that have not sold. Why are you requesting for the uplifts now? Meaning they would just want to assist individual farmers or individual vendors to sell at the expense of a farmer. So you hear that I think the Commission this time around has actually tightened we are not allowing any kind of, because the issue was, why has the Commission been continuously licensing when we know that the crop is this huge? So we are in the process of evaluating to see if a buyer is buying 100% or 80% on contract, 20%. We are doing that currently.
Thank you. You still have some responses to some of the questions that were already posed?
Yes, I would like to hint on mention Zimba. Is it Zimba? Women in management. Yeah, Tobacco Commission management is composed of the executive management has got 4. Director of Technical Services, that position is vacant. Director of HR and Admin, Director of Finance, and the CEO. And the management, we have got 10 managers. Out of the 10 managers, I think we have 4, if now, I'm not, is it 4 now? 3 now. The other one resigned, but we have 4 women in management. It's just that others are in finance, audit, and division managers, managing a division. Thank you. Maybe Honorable Chair, before I wanted to comment on what he commented, to say, the farmers, can the farmers not be given an opportunity to have dollar account? Actually, last year, if you actually reflect on the experience of last year, most of the farmers enjoyed using the FCD accounts. That excitement alone also propelled them to have even produce more this year, because they felt like, no, we have access to our FCD accounts. They produced, but indeed I agree there is need for more awareness. And now you see what happened. The Reserve Bank invited the Commission to say, no, we have noted that most of the farmers, yes, are now having the FCD accounts. We would like to regulate that as well. As you said, no, in as much as they have the FCD accounts, they need to also reconcile whatever they have been spending in. So that's a challenge from farmers, because knowledge issues, but they are aware now that they can enjoy the benefits of having an FCD account. Only that maybe they don't use it, maybe in purchases of fertilizer.
CEO, you still have something on your team?
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members. I just wanted to add on, there were concerns on delays of deliveries. I think it's important for the House to note that we have a system of deliveries that we follow in the tobacco industry. Every transporter is allowed to book their vehicle for deliveries 48 hours prior to the actual deliveries. So for those that follow this system, we have usually not had challenges, but there are some that carry the tobacco in anticipation to deliver and come to the floors and start waiting. And when they are delayed for 3-4 days, they start complaining to say, we were delayed to offload. But in actual sense, if they had followed the procedure, they should have started off only when they were assured that their tobacco will be offloaded. In addition to that, I wanted to respond to a question where one of the members queried to say, does the Commission have the capacity to control the inflows of tobacco coming from the other countries? Indeed, the Commission has usually invested a lot in both inflows and outflows of tobacco. And just to array your fears, we don't work in isolation. We also work with the other law enforcers, including MRA, which we are planning to engage them, that we can also leverage on the structures that they have already invested in. Thank you.
There was also, Chair, an issue to do with satellite markets. Indeed, in the past, we used to have Kabwafu, where I think most of the Flukiwa tobacco is produced, and also Ngodi in Machinga, where that was done. Okay, let me start with Kabwafu. There was a time when demand for Flukiwa was not there in those days. That's when I think the buyers decided to say no. Cost of operation was actually very high to go as far as Kabwafu, and even in Limbi, where we had in Ngodi satellite market, and in Pasas as well for, if I'm not wrong, it was Flukiwa as well. A number of satellite markets we had. But the buyers indicated issues to do with the operational cost, and it was not only from buying side, it was even our market operator, AHL. They had the challenges in terms of maintaining those markets. But with the upsurge of Flukiwad now, Kabwafu is an area that is very strategic, and we believe going forward we should be placing for resuscitation of that particular market. It was a very good observation from our end, and we believe we can employ means and ways so that farmers do not incur a lot of costs to transport their tobacco from there to Nzuzu or from elsewhere to the current prevailing market flows. Thank you. I believe we have attempted to Chair, I think as of now, maybe unless you can be reminded on one or two questions, but we believe we have tried to respond to the key issues that were raised.
Thank you very much, CEO. I'll give you 2 minutes or so to do your closing remarks, and during that period, if you remember anything, please feel free. In closing, let me thank you for appearing before
the chair. Yeah, sorry for an interruption, but I just wanted to remind you that there was an issue to do with corruption that came from Nzimba West, Nzimba Northeast. Yes, so that one I think hasn't been tackled, so we wanted to hear from the Commission. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Point of order sustained. And when you're doing your closing remarks, CEO, please touch on the issue of corruption. They found a good name, but it doesn't befit it. They say it's a tip. So my lady farmer Nyamhango from Javirwa has to travel all the way because she wants to shake hands with a leaf technician or a buyer somewhere. I think you weigh in on that. It's quite a vice that we would not want to watch. CEO, I thank you for appearing before the committee and for honoring the invitation, more specifically for appearing in person. I take this as the beginning of our engagements. Our roles entail that we do legislation, which constantly here we've been talking about the need to review our current legal framework. Among some, the issue of the market regulation, where we would want to promote the open market even as we promote the contract market, not the existing strong auction market rather dying a natural death, or a technical one, as it has been pointed out. Should it be, as we continue to engage, transpire? Of course, it seems so, that there is nothing really binding so much, especially when they breach the 80-20%. Maybe we need to seriously consider re-engaging and strategizing on how we can address it jointly. We are not a police, we are your colleagues, and the things that we've raised here, we stand ready to be part of the solution rather than just the identifiers of the problems. CEO and team, as I've mentioned, let this be the beginning of our engagement. On our roles, the next is representation. We stand up in a space where you do not do, in the August House. As your committee, we would like to stand up for the Commission and stand up for the people that we represent and the industry as a whole. This will only happen if we can constantly engage and we understand the direction that the Commission is taking the industry, so that we do not contradict either in policy or in our contribution on the floor to the direction you're taking. CEO and team, consider therefore engaging this committee to further their understanding and enhance their knowledge of the industry. We would like in the very near future, not far from today, to hear from you on strong recommendations on how we should review and strengthen the industry's performance, especially on the balance between the contract market and the open market, so that we promote. The production is one thing, and that's where we've heard of a very strong move that you're taking, the Know Your Growers system, and we urge you to expedite its rollout. Should we be needed at any point, please do not hesitate. As we are working on this, I say again and again that let's also see how we can balance issues on the market. In sustainably developing the industry, we can't leave anyone behind. Not the farmer, not the buyers, not the players. CEO, the time may not have allowed, but we are concerned, and we also put this to the Commission to work with the stakeholders on the many deductions that our farmers are getting. I am very interested in the industry. I've personally invested time and resources to visit all the 3 markets just this year. I've been to Kanengo, I've been to Limbe, I've been to Mzuzu, and announced and spent almost the whole 6-7 hours in the floors. I went for lunch, I came back. Some of the observations that were being highlighted by the members, I saw them firsthand. It's really pathetic, in my opinion, that such is happening. Corruption, the seemingly preferential treatments, it's something that we can collectively work on. And the last thing that I saw was the sales sheet. And then I looked at the deductions. Then I said, we must be joking. The list is too long for Anyajere in Champira, who struggles to produce that 1 kg. None of those associations visits them even on a single day. They've struggled with quality, as we've seen with the rejection rate, and yet the little leaf that she sells has all those deductions from people that I'm very comfortable to say have rendered no service to them. I consider that theft. I can't be comfortable. And speaking on behalf of my constituents and the many Malawians who are toiling in the industry, we need to protect them from this. I wish, and I will try, as this committee is still working, to meet all those who appear on the sales sheet. They will need to demonstrate to us how and why they are important, why they must be there, if they cannot render a single service to the farmers. The value chain is very straightforward. We do not need all of them, not all of them. And at least we can bundle them if need be. Those 5% I'm seeing there, no. We can do better, CEO. And the committee wants to engage you further on how we can work out on these ones. If they are justified, we want to stand up in the House confidently and defend. But if not, jointly, we should protect the producer. Thank you very much, CEO, and thank you very much, honorable members, for the time and your endurance. We've not taken a healthy break, and I can see the sugar levels are talking stories. I will therefore invite you, CEO, for the closing remarks.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members. But maybe before I make my closing remarks, I request, there was an issue to do with corruption. Maybe I ask one of us to comment on corruption.
Thank you, Chairperson and honorable members. Yeah, we understand that this vice has not left the tobacco industry. It is within us, and as a tobacco commission, we are taking measures to ensure that we get rid of this vice. As we are talking, we have now a contract with the Deloitte to ensure that we are able to report and to track down issues that our farmers may come up with concerning corruption. We have had a case, I think, that has been presented because this is just a new contract that we've had, which has been investigated, and we are still expecting that all cases that will be reported to through this, this is a toll-free number. There is an email. There is also a provision that people can even report in person. The good thing is that they are not reporting this to the Commission, but they're reporting this to our partners in this matter who are Deloitte. So it's being handled with the most confidentiality, and we expect that we'll get to the root of the issues that have been highlighted by the honorable members. Thank you.
Honorable Chairperson and honorable members, Let me begin by sincerely appreciating this opportunity that has been accorded to the Commission. This is one of the first engagements that we have ever had with this committee in recent years, and we do not take that for granted. And I must say it's been long overdue because there have been attempts where we have been talking to the chair to say how best can we quickly engage each other on some of the pertinent issues that are actually affecting the current market. I was really excited, and our commission was excited that now the opportunity has finally come. And indeed, through this interaction, Honorable Chairperson, we have learned quite a lot. And the issues that have been raised are quite pertinent, and you have given us homework. The way we look at things when we are in the industry versus what we have observed here, I must say it shows that indeed you are on the ground and you are able to follow the proceedings of the industry. Let me be quick also to say that whatever you have guided or suggested as takeaway message from here, we are going to sit down as a commission and submit a proper report on the issues that we have requested in terms of strengthening the market performance on contract and auction, as well as to look at the preferential treatment seemingly that is actually happening or may be viewed as is happening. The list of deductions that you have mentioned, Honorable Chair, they are indeed a source of discomfort, not only maybe to the Commission or not only maybe to this committee, but to the Commission as well. We will be reviewing these levies. I believe you are making reference to the levies. Last time, since they were gazetted, I don't remember when, we could do this committee, through the support of this committee, we believe we can indeed take a chance to review and see who is supposed or who is entitled to what. Are we indeed offering the right services to the farmers? If indeed, as you have said, they are justifiable, that would be much better then than to just let it be, because indeed farmers are complaining. And I just wanted to also reaffirm the commitment of the Commission towards farmers, and that's why we are there. We wouldn't want a farmer to be made worse off. At the same time, also, we believe that every stakeholder is supposed to be given enough or good environment for their operations. So, Honorable Chairperson, once again, we really appreciate. It's been a learning experience so far, and we believe these engagements, just like you have said, are not first and last. And there was a request, I think, made through when we are getting the discussions. You are welcome anytime. Honorable Chairperson Committee, you appreciate the market. You tell us you want to see Limbi Nzuzu. We are there, and we believe that is also going to